Hello and welcome. This is a short install video for the Cognitive Speech plugin for Voice Attack. The plugin gives you added speech support using Microsoft Speech Services. And the reason why I set that up is a lot of these voices are pretty lifelike. They have a portal here on Azure that you can go and try them out and see if you also agree, if they're good and you want to set this up. It allows you to try different languages, the different voices that are available, and then play with speed and things like that. So here's a quick sample of just the text that they have on the page.
You can replace this text with any text you wish. You can either write in this text box or paste your own text here.
So you can see it's pretty fluid, so it's kind of nice to add to your games or other programs that you're doing versus the inbox stuff that is in Windows. So enough about that. Let's get started with the install. First thing I'm going to assume is you've already got Voice Attack installed. If not, you can go to their site to download it. Their free option gives you 20 commands that you can use, but it's $10 last time I looked, so it's pretty cheap to have full functionality. And then the other thing that we're going to have to do is actually set up an account in Azure. It's completely free. And in Azure, we'll set up a speech service that you'll call from the plugin. And we'll start there. So I've already got an account with Azure, so I'm not going to go through the creating of an individual account. Once you've got that done, we'll set up the speech service. And the pricing for it, if you're a little bit nervous about that, details here I'll include in the link below, but they have a free tier. And for text-to-speech, the cool voices are called neural, and they allow 500,000 characters free per month. And then if you're wondering if that's enough, typical gaming for me, if we run through the calculations, I was doing about 200 phrases in one day of gaming. And let's say an average sentence or phrase that you're running is about 100 characters. So that's about 20,000 characters in a day. And then let's say you game for 20 days in a month, which is quite a bit, and you'd end up with 400,000 characters, which is in the limit of the free allowances for the neural voices. And then the plugin has caching capability, so if you're running the same phrase through it, it's going to just pull it from disk, so it doesn't even have to make a call to Azure. So let's say half the phrases are cached already, then really you'd only be sending 200,000 characters to Azure a month. And so that would be totally within their free limits, which is pretty cool. So once you've got your account in Azure set up and you sign in, you will go to, let's see if I can get, you go to the home page of your Azure portal. It'll land like this. And what you want to do is set up a new resource. You'll search for speech. And it's typically the one here on the left. You're looking for speech from Microsoft. You go to create. And then we'll give it a name. And it has to be pretty unique, across everyone in Azure. So I typically do my username, and then I'll do the service name. Then you got to pick a region, and you want to pick one that's close to you for the best performance. And then not all regions have all the voices in them. The two best ones are going to be the West US 2 and then the Southeast Asia, if you're more kind of the East Coast. But I'll include links so you can look at the other regions. For this demonstration, we'll use West US 2. And then in the pricing tier, we'll choose free. And you got to give it a resource group, sort of like a folder where to put this resource in your subscription. So I'll just call it Speech Services. I have to actually create it versus try to select it. All right, and then we'll hit create. Deployment doesn't take too long. For me, it was like less than 30 seconds, so hopefully this will come through. Great, there it is. So we'll go to that resource. There's a lot of text on the home page. Don't need to read most of that. The most important thing that the plugin needs, though, is keys. So when your service is created, it creates 2 keys by default. We only need 1. And we also need the location, which we chose as West US 2 here. So we'll stop there because we're going to go download the plugin and configure it for voice attack. We'll go back to GitHub and we'll go to the releases page. And we'll look for the latest version. And then you've got to determine which version you need, the 64-bit version or the 32-bit version. That's got to match with the version of voice attack that you have installed. And I'll show you here how to tell which version you have. If you go into voice attack and then you go to the wrench or options, and then just look at the title bar here. If it says 64-bit, then you'll need the 64-bit version. Otherwise, just go with the 32. So we'll close this for now, and then we'll download the plugin. And then you need to go to your voice attack installation folder, which is normally under program files. And then go to the apps folder. And we just have to drag this folder from the zip into there. So we'll say yes. Okay. Then the next step is to go into the plugins folder, and there's a config file here that we'll need to update. This contains all the settings for the plugin that you can play with. There's descriptions for each one. The main one you're going to have to change is this key value. So where you get that is from Azure, the speech service that you set up under keys and endpoint. There's going to be 2 keys here, but you only need 1. So we're going to copy it to the clipboard and go back, stick it in here. And then the other thing to check is the region. If you set it up in a different region in Azure, then you should be copying this over as well and making sure that matches. And then we will save it. It's important that you save it. Sometimes that's missed and creates an error. So once we have that all set up, we'll go back into voice attack. And then we have to enable plugin support. So go to the general tab and then check this box here. You'll get this warning. It's in general for all plugins. It's just telling you that, hey, if you're enable plugins, then you should be aware of where you're getting them from and what they do. So we'll say yes in this case, and then we'll click OK. And then it's going to say we have to restart voice attack. So go ahead and do that. And then we can also see here the plugin has loaded. So we get one message about the cache. Each time the plugin loads, it will check the cache for anything it can clean up, and it'll also tell you which version is installed. So the other way to confirm that the plugin is working is you can go in here and look in Plugin Manager. It'll show up here. And then the ultimate test is to test the speech. So create a new profile. And we'll add a command. So to use the plugin, you're going to go under the Other menu, Advanced. Down at the bottom here is the Execute an External Plugin function. In this case, it already defaulted to the speech plugin, but you may have to select it from the list. And then we'll just type in what we want it to say. I always click the wait checkbox down here. If you have a lot of speech in the same command, sometimes the speech can overlap without that checked, so I always turn that on. We'll leave the rest defaulted, and then we'll just try it out.
Hi, how are you today?
And there you go. It's all working. Have fun.